Okay, I'm back, everybody. I'm going to apologize for that. I know what I did wrong. I did not have my um hold on, I gotta make sure. Okay, I fixed it. I That was my fault. I can't blame it on nobody but myself. But okay, I'm back. I'm gonna start back off where I left off, okay? As I was stating, there's four different F's. The four F's of trauma response, okay? You have your fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. And as I was stating, I myself, how do you act when you're in defense? Okay, let me say this. Welcome to back to. Thank you for coming back. That was my fault. I can't blame anybody, y'all. I have no place to blame anybody. That was my fault. Welcome to a safe space with Dr. Lillie. I apologize for that. So we're gonna go back where we left off. We left off with the four F's of trauma response. This is important. Fight, flight, freeze, fawn. How do you act? It says bullying, impulse to control, defense, and roping. Thank you, Reverend. And it said, what are you feeling? You're going to feel sometimes angry. You're going to feel upset, irritated, offended, stressed out, provoked, clenched jaw, tense muscles, racing heart. What can you do about it? That's in the fight mode. Physical movement is self-support. Use grounding techniques. They taught us grounding techniques in the grief and loss course. Practice self-care. And how do I act? I want to be honest, because without honesty, I cannot have your trust. And I must win your trust so I can get you as a client, okay? I go in defense mode a lot. So defensiveness is one of the modes I have gone in a lot. I've never been the type gonna bully anybody. You have to bother me for me to get at you. Uh, Impulse to control, I will be honest. I have done that before. So we're gonna get on over to where the flight. Remember, we're talking about the four F's of trauma response. So, flight, difficulty staying still, workaholic tendencies, perfectionist, worry. Well, I have done that too. Ooh, okay. So, how do you act? Adrenaline junkie, hypervigilant, performance anxiety, panic, and constant fear. That is under flight. Okay, what are you feeling when you're under flight? These are the four F's of trauma response. This is flight. What are you feeling? Anxious, panicked, worried, hard to focus, scared, spacing out, distracted, wanting to escape. Put in the chat at least one of them that you may have experienced, okay? What are you going to do about it? Okay. Learn to pace yourself. Practice setting boundaries. Incorporate contemplation time. Now we're going to go into freeze. Because quite often we can all freeze in the situation. Let's say, for example, we're watching television. We see it all the time. Those of you that just might watch The Housewives, they can get caught off guard and act something in a freeze. We all have froze at some point in our lives in a trauma response. So how do you act? Social anxiety, isolated, difficulty making decisions, disassociated, couch potato, daydreaming, depression. What are you feeling? Numbness, zoned out, shame, brain fog, bored, constant fear, emptiness, stiff body. Oh, that stiff body really comes in. What do you do about it? What do you do about when you're in the freeze mode of the four F's? Expand your comfort zone. Realize you are not alone. Again, you are not alone. I am your listening ear. Do random acts of kindness. Start saying yes. And what that means, like if somebody call and asks you, well, let's go out. You decide you want to be the couch potato. No, say yes. Go out and do that brunch. Go out and see that Michael Jackson movie if you like Michael Jackson. Go out and go fishing. Whatever that person is calling to ask you to do, because you got to come out of that freeze mode. You're not going to be that couch potato because I'm not going to let you. Okay, the fawn mode. The 4 F's of trauma response. FAWN. I got a piece of hair in my eye, so don't laugh at me if I keep doing it. It's right on my eyelid somewhere. I can feel it. Okay, fawn. How do you act? FAWN. People pleasing. Trying to fit in at all costs. That's not good, but okay. Loss of identity. Always saying yes. No boundaries. Codependent. Prioritizing other needs. And what they mean by that, you prioritize other needs over your own when you fawn. Okay? What are you feeling in this moment? Disconnected from own body and needs, emotional burnout, feeling responsible for others. What can you do about it? This is important. Building healthy relationships, learn to value yourself, accept that you can't please everyone. Start saying no. That is the most important one, to say what? No. Say no. Do not put yourself in a position where you're not giving yourself the love and care that you need. Self-care is important. And you're going to learn more about that from me, your listening ear, Dr. Lillie. So those are some of the things that we have covered. Let's see what else I have for you all. When it comes about grief and loss, listen carefully. This is where people will run into a problem, because what I learned also from an example that they had given us when we took a quiz. A lot of times, for example, let's say Annie, she's sitting with her counselor, her practitioner, coach, if you want to say, and she's talking about all the things. But what she's there for, saying that is her grief and loss, is not actually her grief and loss. Her actually grief and loss is actually her daughter. Her daughter went off to college, but she didn't look at that as she was grieving. She didn't look at that as a loss. Annie actually felt that she lost, her loss was not her daughter. It was all these other things that she was talking about. But she kept going back to her daughter that went off to college. So that is where the grief and loss is. And some people don't even know they can be feeling all these different things in their body because they're going through grief and loss, but they don't know what exactly their grief and loss is. Her daughter actually went off to college. Her daughter been living with her all her life. Her daughter been there 18 years living with her mom. Her mom and her been together her daughter's entire 18 years. Her daughter is gone. That is a form of loss, that relationship. She didn't lose her daughter in DEATH. Her daughter went off to college. She is grieving that loss of that relationship in that home. There's different forms of loss and there's different forms of grieving. There could be loss of having a miscarriage, loss of a divorce, loss of a friend that moved away, loss of a loved one that passed away. There's so many different forms of loss, and we're going to talk about that on my lives, okay? Okay, grief and loss. Create space for your feelings. Annie did not know how to create space for her feelings. So her feelings, she was all over the place doing her counseling. But because she had such a great counselor that knew the bereaved framework, because there's different framework that we had to learn as well. They knew that she hadn't created space for her feelings. She didn't allow herself to truly feel and grieve. Her daughter went off to college. Understanding that grief is a lifelong journey. And when grief is a lifelong journey, what did I tell y'all early on in this live? Never tell someone to move on. I will say this. Let's say you're going to counseling, and your practitioner is on your 12th to 6th to 12th visit. And you, the client, have not progressed beyond the different frameworks that the practitioner has used with you, then it may be fair to the practitioner, who would still be there for you, to suggest and refer you to a therapist. But that practitioner, me, your listening ear, will still be there for you. So never feel neglected by the practitioner when they see that there's something more that needs to be done, and they're not a therapist nor a psychiatrist, and they can refer you to the needed psychiatrist or therapist that you would need. Okay? Understanding that grief is a long life journey. Again, like I said, never tell someone they should move along. Although we feel it, and it's just not good. I learned it's not good. And that's something I myself really have to work on, because I learned that it's not good to do that. Know that there can be joy in life past loss. You know how the old folks always say, joy comes in the morning. That was something that my father was saying. That's something I wrote in my book, The Purple Cinderella. Joy comes in the morning. I said it often. It's something that it is so true. Again, what it says, under grief and loss, know that there can be joy in the life past loss. Know that. And then it's okay. Grief and loss is not punishment. It's not. It is a chance to grow, heal, become the strongest version of yourself, strongest compassionate version of yourself. Your story is not over. So never feel that when you're experiencing grief and loss, that your story is over. When you lose a loved one, your story is not over. You will grieve, and that is healthy. You will feel that that person is gone, but it does not mean you cannot evolve. You will evolve. How would you evolve? Because I'm going to be your listening ear. You will want to book me for a session, okay? Let's continue. One moment, please. Let me read some of your comments. Reverend Dr. JC says, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, grief and loss is not punishment. Trauma is not punishment. But it has been when someone has done something to you, but you're not the punishment. You are not to be fixed. No one is to be fixed. You are a human being. You have loved ones. You have God. You're not to be fixed. So no one should ever make somebody feel like, oh, he needs to be fixed. You need to be fixed. No. You will evolve. As I stated early on, I am your listening ear. Thank you for coming to my live. Thank you for coming to a safe space with Dr. Lillie. I will see you soon. Have an amazing evening. Goodbye, you guys. God bless.